welcome to 2 Minutes and Beyond, the podcast where we review the Toy Story movies 2 minutes at a time. I'm Bianca Garcia, and this is Macy Ball.
Hello.
Hello. Our guest from last week is back. Guest, would you like to introduce yourself again?
I sure would. I'm Anthony Strand, and I am super excited to talk about Scud this week.
Great, because in this episode, we're talking about minutes 69 and 70 of Toy Story.
Yes. Some really good minutes. I mean, all minutes in this movie are good. But
Every single time we're like, these are really good minutes.
every single episode.
They could put it on the poster. Not a bad minute, right?
Exactly. There's not a bad minute of Toy Story.
Mm-mm.
Well, shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. These 2 minutes start off with Woody and Buzz running to the fence to see Andy's mom's van about to leave. Woody yells, "Quick!" and runs into the van, but Buzz is stuck with the rocket. It won't fit through the fence. Woody climbs onto the van's back bumper and looks back to see that Buzz is stuck, but Buzz tells him, "Just go, I'll catch up." Woody thinks for a second about what to do and then decides to go back to help Buzz, just as the van begins to drive away. Woody pushes Buzz down so that he can fit through the fence, and they both run towards the van just to realize that it's too far away.
I love that after this whole movie of Woody just being such a jerk to Buzz that he decides instead of staying with the van, which would have meant that he for sure ended up with Andy, he goes back to help Buzz instead.
Right. Because he doesn't know whether or not he's going to get back, but he's like, my friend.
Yeah.
Right. That's the new post-handshake status quo for Woody and Buzz, right? Like that. But I mean it though. I think that means something to Woody. You know, like
right.
They are officially friends now. He would never feel right. Like he tried to. Okay, I think he tried to murder Buzz. Some people disagree.
I think so too.
Right? Like he acts like he didn't, but he totally did. Like pushed him out the window. I mean, I know he pushed him behind the table. Still behind the table to be lost and gather dust and essentially die. So
it was aggravated assault with a vehicle.
It totally was. But it really is huge that now he could be free of Buzz forever.
Right, exactly.
Buzz tells him to leave, and he doesn't. He turns around and goes back and saves him. And I also love the animation of Woody pushing down the rocket and then pointing it forward to go out of the fence. It's like such a cute, the physics of it seems so convincing, and it's adorable. Like that's why I love that.
That's so funny.
It's just this little boop, boop, you know.
It's like getting a kid's head out of a sweater.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the audio commentary originally, when Buzz was stuck, they said he was going to say Woody, I'm stuck, come help me, but then they decided to change it because at that point they felt like you should be more giving, and by this point in the movie they should be constantly helping each other.
Right, yeah. Instead of it sounding like Buzz is too dependent also.
Yeah, they should be acting selflessly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You might even say that Buzz has a friend in Woody.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I think you're the second person to make that joke on this podcast.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think
you might even say that Buzz will go sailing some more with Woody.
Yes.
Oh my word, yes. Once we get to the end of the movie, we would have said all of the cheesy jokes.
Right. So, strange thing. I thought you would both laugh because that's the third song. Strange things.
Well, I was about to say just one strange thing.
Yeah, right. No, but Woody and Buzz are good buddies, and I'm glad they're friends. That's all.
Me too.
Yes.
Oh goodness. Shall we move on to the next little tidbit?
Absolutely.
Oh, the van has. I mean, we've talked about the van's license plate before, but it says A113.
Oh yes, I do like that fun little tidbit. I like looking for that in all the Pixar movies. I like looking to see where they stick that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which my daughter notices now, by the way.
Really?
My daughter is 7, and when we were watching Turning Red, she was just like, Dad, A113! And I'm like, yeah, man.
That's great.
That is great. She has her wonderful cringy teenage years to look forward to.
Probably true.
It is. Every little girl goes through the most horrific, cringy stage of their life, but it's it's one of the most like freeing moments of your life.
Nice. That's awesome.
I still haven't seen Turning Red. I need to sit down and watch
You need
that.
to see it. It's great. Seeing it, I'm like, I remember being there. I remember being this like awkward and feeling the way that May feels. I'm like, oh, I remember that.
That's what my wife said.
I could also still be in my cringy phase.
Sure, yeah. No, it's slightly off topic, but as long as we're talking about Turning Red, I'm so glad that Pixar has started cranking out original movies again. Like that's 4 originals in a row, you know? Like it was.
I really like that too.
Like in the 2010s, it was 4 originals all decade long and 6 sequels and a prequel, right?
Yeah.
And now it's been Onward, Soul, Luca, Turning Red. Like that's the first 4 movies in the 2020s, and they're all original. I don't think they're all masterpieces, but I think they're all better than Cars 3.
Oh, I liked Cars 3.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, I kind of have a soft spot for the Cars movies anyway, but that's off topic.
You're like, that's a different podcast.
You can do that in the second one when you do ka-chow minutes at a time.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll
just change it to 2 minutes and ka-chow.
2 minutes and ka-chow. Yeah, there it is. You got 3 more movies. Yeah. I request to come on the part in 2 when Bruce Campbell gets tortured to death. The strangest moment.
Oh yeah.
The strangest moment in any Pixar movie is when a car gets tortured to death.
So weird.
Bananas.
That is, yeah.
I mean, I that movie is kind of like I don't know if guilty pleasure is the right word for it, but like I enjoy the movie even though it's like objectively bad.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. No, I mean I don't,
can see
but
that.
I
it
get
is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What else happens in Toy Story? Yeah.
Let me tell you. At the 24-second mark, a huge truck drives up from behind and they both drop to the ground between the tires as it drives over them. Once it passes, they see the back of the truck and realize it's Andy's moving van. Buzz says, "Come on," and they run after it. Scud, who has been sleeping on Sid's front porch, wakes up and sees Buzz and Woody running along the road and growls. Buzz gets close enough to the moving van that he's able to jump and use the strap hanging off the back to climb up. Woody tries to grab the strap and misses. Buzz encourages him, "You can do it, Woody," and Woody manages to grab it and starts climbing up just in time for Scud to catch up with the van. Scud takes hold of Woody's leg with his teeth, and Woody yells, "Get away, you stupid dog! Down! Down!" and kicks Scud's snout with his other leg. Buzz says, "Hold on, Woody," as Scud pulls harder and Woody loses his grip on the strap. Holding on with just one hand, Woody says, "I can't do it. Take care of Andy for me." And yet Buzz yells, "No!" Jumps onto Scud and pulls the dog's eyelids up and releases them. which makes him let go of Woody. This is like one of my favorite scenes because it's so dramatic and it's just toys.
Well, like it's so violent. Like it seems like
It
Scud,
is.
like especially knowing how easily Woody's arm comes off in the second one. In retrospect, it
It's
seems
because of this moment
Oh,
exactly.
right,
Yeah.
right, and loosen it up. But like, it seems impossible that Scud wouldn't bite his leg off here. Like, it's
Oh my gosh, I know.
I know. I'm like, this dog. Either Woody's got like an amazingly strong grip, or this dog is not pulling as hard as he could be.
right,
Oh
but
my
but it
gosh, I
looks
know.
like he is though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
intense.
And you hear like it sounds like fabric ripping, even though I mean he's obviously not ripped apart, but that's what it sounds like.
Right.
Like his seams are tearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, there's several points where I'm like, Buzz, you're close enough to Woody to like grab his arm and pull him up. Although I guess at that point, like Scud would still have him in his mouth, so maybe that wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It is a little bit of a missed opportunity that Buzz doesn't use his karate chop action to hit
yeah.
Scud on the head and
I
make
know
him
he
drop
could have
Woody.
smacked the dog.
Now, like that would be a good sign that he's fully embracing his status as a toy, right? Using his karate chop
Yeah.
action, but which
That's so funny because I actually do that with our dogs. With we have a little dog that has a bunch of stuffed toys, and he has a Gumby, and the Gumby's little arm is sticking out. So when I grab the Gumby, I kind of like slap the dog's face with the Gumby.
awesome.
Not hard. It's not animal abuse, but to mess with him, like, ha, I'm slapping you. My poor little dog.
Oh, so can we talk about how Scud is a hideous monster?
Yes.
Like, I'm sure you already talked about this, but he's just like, I don't know if it just was that they couldn't design an animal that looked like an animal at this point. You know, because like Buster, like 4 years later, Buster is adorable. Buster is the sweetest and cutest, like, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, and Scud looks like a homunculus. He's just awful. Like his eyes are just these like weird balls like protruding out of his head. Like you can like
he is a pretty gnarly dog.
He's
like
so awful looking, which I think is fine. I think it works for the character.
Yeah, like I guess for like 1995 CGI, it looks fine.
Right. And I know that it's just like I think the actual toy animation holds up so well. You know, like obviously it doesn't look as good as any of the sequels, but like it's still so charming, and like Woody and Buzz feel like Woody and Buzz, and you know, I mean all the other toys, Lenny, you know, like RC, all these guys are so cute. Yeah. And then Scud is just this
Scud.
Like, Scud is like a cutscene from a PlayStation game.
Yes.
You know, like he's not good.
And then I mean we've probably talked about it to death at this point, but like all the humans look terrifying.
Right. Well, to
if
the
you
point
look at
where,
them too close.
Right. Well, to the point where Andy's mom is unrecognizable in Toy Story 3 as the same person from this movie.
Yeah, even to some degree in Toy Story 2, I think as well. Yeah.
Right. Well, Toy Story, like
it looks like a different mom.
The leap between Toy Story and Toy Story 2, like quality of animation wise, is wild. For that only being 4 years, you know? I mean, obviously 4 years and a studio that had a smash hit movie that made them a lot of money that they could spend on, you know, R&D basically, right?
Yeah.
But
I feel like they probably learned a lot from making Bug's Life as well.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Right, because that movie is it's all animals. I mean, they're like shiny, plasticky animals, of course, but
yeah, and they're like cartoon versions of bugs. So
right. Whereas
but still,
Scud is a nightmare version of a dog.
Yeah,
he's like the dollar store version of a dog. Oh, this poor animal.
Yeah. Well, and like, but I mean, obviously, like, it helps that Woody and Buzz are terrified of him. Like, obviously, spoiler alert.
I would be too.
right. But like, obviously, spoiler alert, we have the joke at the end where, oh, Andy got a dog for Christmas. Like, then they're expecting it to be Scud. And that's why they look at each other like that. You know, they're
Yeah.
like, that's what a dog is. This like creepy beast who tries to eat them and, you know, looks radioactive.
He does look pretty radioactive. I'm pretty sure that he was found at like Chernobyl or something.
Man.
Yeah, that's where Sid moved from. Inexplicably.
That's why they're so like
Terrible
off.
looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're kind of all glowing right now.
Although I don't know, I think Hannah looks much more like a person than Sid does.
Hannah does. Hannah looks a little more normal. Even though she's kind of wonky looking, she doesn't look as bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, they actually tried with Hannah. They're like, okay, this poor little girl, let's not do anything bad to
her. Right. Well, but I mean, like, obviously Sid, too. It's the same thing where, like, he looks like an alien because he's a bully, right? He's a bad guy.
And there was a scene earlier in the movie. I think it was when Mom asks Andy if he wants to go to Pizza Planet. Mom's arms just look like Barbie arms.
They do.
But
I was like, man.
No, you're right. Although that scene is saved by Andy's excellent delivery of just one.
Yes.
Which is one of my 3 favorite Andy line deliveries in the movie, right? Which are, har, har, funny, Mom. Just one.
I love that too.
and best of all, it's coming right up. I'm kind of bummed that I have to miss it, but here in the car. Which is like an Andy, like I spent every time I'm in the car and like I find something, it's just here in the car. You know?
Yeah.
And that's my whole life. That's since I was 11 when I first saw this movie.
Yeah, it's a very quotable movie.
It is, and like even stuff like that is not anything, you know, like shouldn't be memorable dialogue. It's just like burned in my brain.
But as a child, your little kid brain is like, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Right. And then,
like whenever I say buy house.
Right, exactly. It's that exact same thing, yeah. And that's Andy. I don't know what the magic of Andy is that, like, you know. And of course, I mean, Toy Story 2 you'll get to, but can I say my favorite Andy thing from Toy Story 2?
Yes, please.
Sure.
I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore. In the dream sequence.
My gosh, that's my favorite too.
So gosh.
It's like the saddest part of the movie.
Right.
Well, besides Jesse's part, but the saddest part for Woody.
Yeah, right.
Which I believe was actually, that dream sequence was actually like repurposed from like a deleted scene from this movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, right. I think that's right.
I absolutely hated it because it was roaches instead of like toy parts.
Yes. Because we watched it when we got to around that section of the movie.
Sure.
It's really weird. But ever since I was a kid, like when Woody says, take care of Andy for me, and Buzz says no, like I know what he means, but it always made me laugh as a kid because it sounds
right, because it's like, you're dead, cowboy.
No, I refuse.
Right. It's my world now, cowboy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I thought that too as a kid. I was like, that's really rude.
There's a license plate on the back of the moving van that says MLY 1K9, and I looked it up, and that's a reference apparently to it says it means Molly 1K9, which is apparently a reference to Pixar's once resident sheepdog. I guess somebody at Pixar had a sheepdog named Molly.
Well, that's cute.
And so is Molly the character in this film also named after that sheepdog?
I don't know, but that would make sense.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, it also has on the front of the van, there's the same I think it's 2 license plates that we talked about on the semi truck in the gas station.
Oh yeah,
That like
that's right.
I couldn't figure out if they were. I mean, I'm sure they referenced something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. One of them says EL 4994, and then the other one says DF 3443. So it's like
Mhm.
2 letters and then 2 numbers and then the same 2 numbers reversed on both of
Mhm.
them, which is weird.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't know what they're referencing.
That is interesting. Maybe it's like somebody's initials and then they're just like, well, let's just switch these 2 numbers up just out of randomness. But I kind of don't want to believe that because Pixar puts so much detail into every little thing and they put so many Easter eggs. I'm like, it's got to be an Easter egg.
I kind of thought maybe it was like you said, the 2 initials and then maybe like the person's like the year they were born and then like that year reversed. But I don't know.
Maybe.
I meant to look it up again before we recorded this and see if and try again to see if I could find anything else out or anything out about that, and
Mhm.
I forgot.
It's okay. It happens.
I do love those Pixar Easter eggs though. Like when I watched Turning Red on Disney Plus, I was hoping that there would be a
Mhm.
scene where they watch Monsters Inc. on VHS, but they don't.
That would have been great. I would have loved that so much.
Oh yeah, because that's around
Yeah,
that
it's set in
time when
2002.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just
I was
just
gonna
like
say,
just like
or
have it on
Finding
TV
Nemo,
or
but
something,
Finding Nemo was the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo wasn't out yet. That's the thing. Monsters
Yes.
Inc. was the new hotness at that time.
I love Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it's great. We should
It's
watch
one
that.
of my favorites.
We should watch that 2 minutes at a time. We should fire up minutes 1 and 2 of Monsters Inc. right now.
Have you seen the show Monsters at Work on Disney Plus?
Yes, it is adequate.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like it's fine. It's like nice to see that world again and stuff, but you know.
Yeah, I was like, I started watching it. I was watching each new episode as they came out. I was like, why should I care about these characters? I don't know. But then by the end, it hooked me.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's not anything revolutionary.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, we watched
I still have yet to see it.
It's I don't know. I probably like it better than Monsters University, a movie I'm not crazy about personally, for whatever that's worth.
That's my guilty pleasure movie. As bad as it is, I actually like it.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it's like a disaster or anything. I think it's weird.
It's not the funnest movie, and it's college. Like, kids don't want to see college.
Right.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it many times, but you relate to Squishy's mom.
I love Squishy's mom. She is my spirit animal. Yeah. I feel like her soul embodies me.
Aww.
Especially the car scene.
Sure, yeah.
Where she's listening to her tunes and it's just like screamo metal.
That's me. I'm like, don't come ride with me because you will be subjected to that.
Metallica.
Yes. Shall we move on?
Should we go back to talking about this movie?
Yes. Okay. At the 1 minute 21 second mark, Woody climbs up into the moving van and tries to open the door at the back. The van stops at a red light and the door suddenly flips up, sending Woody up with it. Woody looks around and sees a box labeled Andy's Toys. Meanwhile, Scud throws Buzz under a car. In the moving van, Woody opens a box containing Slinky, Rex, Mr. Potato Head, Ham, and Rocky, who are all surprised to see him. Woody pushes the box into the side of the van and starts looking through another box. Ham says, "What's going on? What's he taking?" Woody says, "Aha, there you are," and pulls RC out of the box. Potato Head wonders, "Hey, what's he doing?" Woody puts RC at the edge of the van, and the 2 minutes end there.
What a cliffhanger, you know? Like,
what a literal cliffhanger.
I know. Well, like, often on our podcast, we talk about it'll be frustrating because a clip cuts off right before we get to something good. And, like,
right.
can I say the thing that Rex says right after this, or do you want to save it until your next episode?
You can say it.
Yeah, you can say it.
Right. So what Rex does is he goes, "He's at it again," which is one of my favorite jokes in the whole movie. That like old murdering Woody, like back up to his old tricks.
Back up to his shenanigans.
Right. But so
just
like
killing toys.
Right. Like I said, though, I was watching this with my two kids, and I said that I was just like, "Oh man, we didn't get to hear he's at it again." That's so frustrating. And then like my kids wanted to watch the whole movie, so we did that weekend, like last weekend after we watched the clips. And when this part was coming up, my daughter Iris, who's 7, was just like, "Dad, you're gonna miss he's at it again. Get out here." So I'm like, all right.
That's too funny. Oh my gosh.
And it was very satisfying.
I love Rex.
Yeah, he's great.
That's
yeah.
Rex
It's been a while. Faves. Yeah, it's been a while on the show since we've seen
all of
Andy's toys. So
right.
It's nice. It's nice to see them again.
Right.
It feels like it's been a while.
Sure. Well,
I feel like it's been at least a couple months.
Because it was like the scene, like the scene where they're talking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where I know, again, speaking of moving right along, guests will often say, "Oh, I wish I'd," they'll come on and say, "I wish I'd gotten to see this part or this character." And I've never really known how they felt until now. Because, like, like Mr. Potato Head's barely in these minutes that I came on to talk. Was my favorite character in this movie, certainly, Mr. Potato Head.
Oh, Mr. Potato Head's great. I love him.
I mean, you're welcome to talk about Mr. Potato Head if you want to.
Well, so there's the joke. Obviously, there's the joke where he says, "What are you looking at, you hockey puck?" Which is, I'm sure you talked about. That's like Don Rickles' shtick and all that. But I remember, like, I thought it was hilarious as a kid. Anyway, just, "What are you looking at, you hockey puck?" And the puck shrugs, and I'm from North Dakota, so it's a big hockey state, and all that. But like 7-8 years later, when I found out that that's a Don Rickles thing, I was just like, "This is the greatest joke in the history of cinema. How did they do this?"
There's so many things that they've added into the movie, and I think that part that they've done that like was so like refreshing to the adults too, because they're like, "Hey, we get this reference," and they added so many references just so that they could connect with the adults too, instead of it just being like, "Oh, we got to sit an hour and a half in this kids movie."
Right. Although very smartly, I think it all is also entertaining for kids. Like there are some of these movies.
Oh yeah.
Like especially there was like the post Shrek DreamWorks movies, right? Your Shark Tales, your B movies, some of that stuff where like so many of the jokes are like just a reference to a thing that adults might know and kids don't understand it. And that's why nobody talks about those movies anymore. Because they're not good and nobody enjoys watching them.
Well, it's Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's like, when he was at Disney, he, kept pushing, the story goes that he kept pushing for this movie to be like more and more edgy, like more edgy. And then it got to that point where we've talked about it several times, where it was just like, it was terrible. Like Woody was totally unlikable. That it was too edgy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But that's why DreamWorks, that all that stuff is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I know. And I think DreamWorks eventually made some very good movies. I love Kung Fu Panda. I love How to Train Your Dragon. Whatever. But it took them a while because they were so obsessed with that, like, hey, we're the hippest in the room. And all that stuff.
Right.
Like
they felt like they had to be the edgy version of Pixar.
Yeah, and like clearly it worked. Shrek 2 was like the most successul animated film of all time up to that time. Like it's
I love
garbage.
Shrek 2. That's one of my favorites. But because it's not like, it didn't need a sequel. Like Shrek 2 was just like, why did you make this? And that's why I love bad movies.
Sure. I feel bad that I'm just like, "Oh, Shrek 2 is garbage. Thanks for having me on your podcast."
No, I mean, it is garbage. I just like garbage movies.
Sure. I mean, I like to
It's
hear
like me
John
with
Cleese.
Cars too.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, I can even tell you I love the 80s Super Mario movie. That's one of my favorite movies. It's so awful.
It's very
I
bad.
still need to watch that at some point.
It is.
Oh, well, I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun, but it's just awful.
Yeah. There's here's the thing. If you enjoy Super Mario Brothers movie, can I make a recommendation?
Please do.
So there's a movie, I think it was released in 1989 called Arena, about Steve Armstrong, the first human to fight in the intergalactic arena in 50 years. And he fights against a spaceman named Horn. And
oh my God.
It's all good. It's none good, but also all good. And
yeah, it's so bad it's good.
It's so bad it's good. And it's like, like it's like on YouTube now. I mean, it's just like a direct to VHS movie from that time.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It has
that sounds horrendous.
Yeah, it is. I think you'd enjoy it very much. Because it has some of that same like weird, why is any of this happening energy that Mario Brothers does,
Oh my gosh. So
that's Arena,
fantastic.
directed by Peter Manoogian, which is fun to say.
I sure am gonna write that down.
All right. Awesome. Let me know what you think if you get
for my weekend watching.
All right.
Yes.
I feel bad for RC because like the last time Woody did anything with him was when he pushed him behind when he was trying to push Buzz behind the desk.
Yeah.
And now Woody's just like grabbing him. He doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
Woody's about to like push him over the side of the van.
Right. Well, and like he's like looking around nervously, like while this is happening. Like we see his eyes shifting.
Mm-hmm. Like what it really like.
He's like a little dog that you woke up from a nap.
Yeah.
Like Woody could have taken 2 seconds to be like, Buzz is back there. I'm gonna try to grab it. I mean, they probably would have believed him, but like
right, they probably would have thought this man's gonna finish him off, run him over.
Right.
Oh my gosh. What an awful situation. I know.
It is. I'm very excited to see how it gets resolved next time. Which I'm not on that one. I'm just excited to listen to your episode when it comes out. That's the only way out. That's the only way I'll find out.
Oh my goodness. I also have a little tidbit here that says there's a heart on the tree that has the names Mitch and Diane.
Yes, I noticed that in the last shot where the very last shot on the tree off to the side, you see a heart carved into it, and it's got Mitch plus Diane written on it.
That's so cute.
And we don't know who Mitch and Diane are.
I haven't. If they, I'm sure they are real people, but I haven't. I didn't think to look it up. I should have done that.
Maybe it's like one of the artists, and he's like, "Oh, I love my wife."
Yeah. I hope so.
I sure do hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find something? I heard you type in away.
I was typing, but I didn't find anything.
Okay.
I googled Toy Story Mitch and Diane, and all it did was talk about something in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids that I didn't understand.
Oh goodness.
Anyways.
So, in the audio commentary, they talked about how the Army Man sequence was the first sequence they produced, but this whole like chase sequence was the last one they produced, which they did on purpose because they knew it was going to be a huge scene, and they knew that by the time they got to it, they would have like better techniques to be able to handle everything involved.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And then, according to Bill Reeves, they had to create about like 6 blocks worth of houses for this scene. And there were like 20 different house models that they all like modified in different ways. And William Cohn did a lot of the design, and Lauren Carpenter did the technical creation. And they, let's see, Evan Otsby did a lot of work like laying out the world and creating a system so that they could like mix and match all of the trees and houses and like different parts of houses and everything. And apparently there are 267 shots in this scene, and like they said like every shot or like chunk of shots was different. So it's a very technically impressive scene.
That is very
Yeah, for
impressive
sure.
for 1995, especially because you don't pay attention to the houses. You're not, you know, like, oh, that house is the same. Like, you're actually involved in what's going on, but that's the Pixar detail that they put in.
Yeah, but then, and like if that detail wasn't there, you would notice.
Yeah,
or it
you
would feel
would.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
Right.
Yep.
So
a lot of work went into this scene.
right. Speaking of which, we didn't talk about Eggman Movers being an Easter egg, right? An Easter egg about eggs.
Oh yeah, we talked about it in a previous episode.
Oh,
but
sure,
we can talk
because
about it now too.
we saw
Yeah.
the moving truck.
Yeah.
So Ralph Eggleston and all that. Your listeners have already heard. Yeah, we don't need to rehash it. I'll just say that I really love For the Birds, which he directed.
Oh yes, I do too.
That's good short.
I think that's
I remember
really fun.
seeing that in the theaters when I saw Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Was that
that's
the one?
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do like that short film.
Yeah, it's great. It's a delight. And then he never directed anything else. He's been working as a production designer at Pixar still to this day, but it's the only thing he ever directed. So I don't know. I don't know why.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to say about this clip?
I don't.
I'll just say that
So should we wrap it up?
I'll just say that Scud hates Woody and Buzz so much. That's all. I'm done.
He does. He really does. He's like, you know what? I got a beef with you. I don't know why, but I'm going to go bite your leg off.
It's that dog instinct that a lot of dogs have, that my dog has, of like anything that's small and like running around.
Ready to go get it. Yeah.
Gotta go hunt it.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. Well, since we are at the end of our 2 minutes, let me go ahead and ask you a couple of questions.
Please.
What is your history with Toy Story, and which one is your favorite?
All right. So I've touched on some of this stuff. I saw Toy Story in the theater on my 11th birthday.
Ooh.
December 30th, 1995. So it was already like a month old. And I knew I had to wait until my birthday. Like, that was what my parents told me from the start. You know, I was like, I want to go see Toy Story. You can see it on your birthday. So me and a few of my friends went to see it, like had a sleepover, went to see Toy Story. But my history with Toy Story really starts when I read about it in Disney Adventures magazine in the summer, probably in July or August or something, because I was a subscriber of Disney Adventures. And they said, you know, Disney's next movie is all computers or whatever. I mean, it wasn't even like an article. It was just like a sidebar thing. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a movie about toys, and it's so shiny. I have to go. You know? And so I was obsessed. Even before I saw it, I just wanted to go so bad. And I didn't get to go until my birthday, Christmas break, you know? and then I loved it. I immediately declared it my favorite movie that I had ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then in those days, the VHS didn't come out for like 9 months or something. That VHS,
yeah, it took forever.
Do we know the release date of the VHS for Toy Story? I'm gonna look it up.
It was in 96 for sure.
Yeah.
But it was like late 96. I'd say about August, September.
Right, because I believe I was in 6th grade. But yeah, let's see. October 29th, 1996. So
wow.
like 11 months after the movie. And so I'm in 6th grade, and I have such a distinct memory of renting the movie from our local video store, which was closed on Sundays. So you rented on Saturday, you got 2 nights for the same price.
Very nice.
Yeah, but so we watched it on Saturday. I watched it again on Sunday, and then on Monday I faked sick so I could stay home and watch Toy Story 2 more times. And I did. So I watched it 4 times that weekend. And then with like, I don't remember, birthday money or something, it was the first movie I ever bought with my own money was Toy Story. on VHS.
That's a good purchase.
Yeah, it was, and
Yeah.
I watched it all the time. We all, I have 3 brothers, and my older brother probably wasn't that into it, but my 2 younger brothers sure were,
Mhm.
and then a few years later, when I bought a DVD player with my own money, with my paper route money, and the Toy Story Ultimate Toy Box DVD with the 3-disc set. That was the first DVD I ever
Mhm.
bought. And
Wow.
then Toy Story 3 was the first Blu-ray I ever bought. That's all true.
Nice.
Yeah. And I wish in retrospect that I had not purchased any digital movies until I got Toy Story 4, but that didn't happen. My first one was
Oh yeah.
my
No.
first one was Force Awakens, I think. But
Mhm.
but yeah, so that's my history with Toy Story. Is I was obsessed with it. I've always been obsessed with it ever since. Think about it all. Like I said earlier in this episode, I think about like just one all the time or whatever. Pull my string. The birthday party's today. Just whatever. Just any line. It's in my head
Right.
all the time. You can relate.
We do.
Yes.
Right. But then even though I'm talking about Toy Story 1 all this time, what's my favorite? Toy Story 2 is my favorite. And
That is a good one.
it's my favorite Pixar movie. Still, I think it's the greatest. I think it's like a perfect movie from the
Mhm.
Buzz video game opening through like all the callbacks to the first one to the scene where Jerry from Jerry's Game paints Woody. Like,
Mhm.
Yes.
what a great movie! It's perfect, and like Jessie is such a great addition. Like to
I love Jessie.
to the point where it feels kind of strange that she's not in this movie now. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
it's just like she's just such a core part of the gang.
Mhm.
So that's 2, and I don't know. I hope you'll have me back for 2 so I can talk about something
Oh,
there
for
too.
sure. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I can talk about Bullseye. Bullseye is the opposite of Scud, by the way, because he's adorable and he's like the sweetest.
He's
buddy.
a beacon of sunshine.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
love
that's
Bullseye.
yeah, he's so good. Everything. Toy Story 2, man. In the bloopers. What a great movie.
Oh, I love the
Yes.
bloopers. Those are my favorite.
So good. But my son hasn't seen it yet. He refuses. He just wants to watch 1. He's only seen Toy
Oh my
Story 1.
goodness.
He's only 4. I
That
mean,
is
he's
so
little.
funny.
But like,
he'll grow out of it. Eventually, he'll want to see the other ones.
right. Well, because like we were home just the other day. His preschool was closed, so I was home with him. And I was like, you want to watch Toy Story 2? And he's like, no, Toy Story 1. And I'm like, all right. So that's what we did. But yeah, so
That's so funny.
That's my brief history with Toy Story.
Very cool.
Yes.
Well, should we wrap it up?
Well, is there anything you want to plug?
Yes. Do you want to plug anything?
I mean, same stuff I did last time. I mentioned I co-host Movin Right Along on toughpigs.com, a podcast over there, and I write for them sometimes. So if I can plug one article that I'm very proud of, last year I wrote Last year I wrote an oral history of Mo Frackle, an obscure Muppet monster, and I talked to the builder, the performer, and various other people who've worked with the character over the years. And it turned out really well, I think. It's just, if you want to read a deep dive into the history of one Muppet monster, check it out. I wrote that last year, and it might be my favorite thing I've ever done.
It's a great article. I love it.
Thank you so much. It's definitely one of those things that I worried like I was the entire audience for it. But then I've gotten a lot of really nice comments, positive feedback about it. So I'm really glad that it worked out. I'm glad those guys were willing to participate in it, and everything like that. So so yeah, check that out if you're a huge nerd.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna put it in the show notes and everything.
All right, awesome.
Yes. Yeah, and if you like this format of reviewing movies 2 minutes at a time, check out Movin Right Along.
For sure.
Thanks. Was that a Janice reference or not?
Podcast.
Bianca, I couldn't tell.
Wait, what?
You said for sure. Was that a Janice reference from the Muppets?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Janice the Muppet.
Go on.
I'm all like, yeah. I've just been saying for sure for like the past 20 years.
All right. Sorry. I'll let you finish.
Oh my god. No, well, thank you for
Well,
being on our podcast.
yes,
Thank you
it's
so
been so
much
much
for having
fun.
me. Yeah, it was
Of
such a blast.
course.
I loved it.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely let you know when we start the Toy Story 2.
Awesome.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Alrighty, well, thank you for listening, everyone. Be sure to follow our Facebook and Twitter accounts and send us an email if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns. And if you enjoy the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.